Well, that's interesting. There's nobody here. Was it 3, wasn't it? Yeah. Sains versus Fall. Oh, there we go. There's 1. Shannon, you could put us on the record.
Good.
This is a matter of Sains versus Fall. Counsel, state your appearance, please.
Loretta Suby on behalf of Dr. Fall and Fall Chiropractic PLLC.
Spell that.
Subhi.
Thank you.
Okay, the plaintiff has not dialed in. It was scheduled for 3. I've got a phone number listed here. I'm going to try to call her.
Hello,
May I speak with Gloria Sains, please?
this is she. We're trying to get the Zoom to work.
I'm glad I called then. We'll just let you participate over phone if that's okay with you.
That'll be fine.
Okay, we are on the record. Ms. Subi, I have read your motion. And based upon the answers in response to the request to admit, you're asking the court to issue judgment essentially dismissing Ms. Sains' complaint. So, Ms. Sains, I assume you've read a copy of the motion that was filed. I don't see that you filed any kind of a response, did you?
I sent those papers I filled out back to that lady. I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
All right. Well, let me ask you
Other than do this Zoom thing today. That's the only thing I understood.
Well, the rules provide that you are able to file a written response, but even if you didn't, I can deal with your response to this.
All right.
I mean, you were asked, I guess the most important one, I guess there are several, dealing with whether or not you have retained an expert witness to establish the essential facts that you would need to establish in order to proceed on your claim. The responses that you did file to those requests, although you refused to admit them, it was clear from your answers that you do not have a qualified expert that can testify to the standard of care or the breach of that standard. Is that still correct?
Well, I guess that's correct because I haven't been able to get an attorney yet.
I've given you a substantial amount of time to try to find an attorney. I know from my past experience in practicing that attorneys who handle medical malpractice claims are specialists, and they will not accept representation of a medical malpractice claim without being assured that it is indeed a claim that they have some chance of prevailing on.
Well, when you gave me the extra time, when I called them, they needed at least 30 days or more to go over that before they would even decide if they would take the case or not.
That's
So
exactly right. They won't take a case until they have a chance to investigate and make sure that it's worth their time.
Right, and so none of them would accept it because they didn't have the time that they needed to look at it. So that's why I wasn't able to get an attorney.
Well, I'm puzzled. The initial order where I granted permission to your first attorney to withdraw gave you 60 days to find someone, and then I extended that another 30 days.
Right, well, during the COVID, nobody was answering their phones. I just couldn't get a hold of anyone. I've called so many attorneys. I've called Detroit. I called the one that will find an attorney, and they're all going to call you back in an hour or 2 hours. Not one person called, and they didn't even know what the case was.
All right. Well, you said you were finally able to make contact with an attorney.
Right.
Who was willing to review the case, but unwilling to accept it without the opportunity to review it.
That's right. I even took it to, I can't think of her name, a gal here, lawyer here in Jackson. I can't think of her name right now.
I'm not aware of any female lawyers in Jackson that are handling medical malpractice cases.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't think of her name right now, but she does handle those. And she just didn't have enough. She said she didn't have enough time right now, that she was too busy.
Okay, well, that doesn't sound to me like someone who was just needed more time to look at a file. You said you talked to someone who was willing to review your file, but
yes, I did.
But needed.
They were from Detroit.
Do you know if that attorney is still willing to review your file?
I don't know because I haven't talked to him since he refused because he didn't have the amount of time he needed.
And what he told you was he needed how much time to review the file?
He needed at least 30 days.
So, Ms. Subi, I'm sorry, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are, Your
My
Honor.
name is Sane.
Okay, no, I was speaking to the attorney, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
I know who you are. So, Ms. Subi, I am sympathetic with Ms. Zane's plight. I realize also that your client certainly deserves to have some finality to this action. I realize the challenges that COVID has faced or created in terms of the initial time period basically being unavailable. My inclination is to give Ms. Saines one last chance to have an attorney review this file and tell her whether or not he's willing to accept it. It sounds like in order for her to do that, if he says he needs at least 30 days, my inclination is to give her an additional 6 weeks for someone to file an appearance. But I will listen to you as to why you think I shouldn't do that.
Yes, Your Honor. As you mentioned, you gave her sufficient time from the very beginning because even though you initially gave her 60 days, she had more than 60 days because she knew prior to the hearing that the attorney was withdrawing. And then in your second order, when you gave her initial 30 days, that was 30 days from that order. So there was an additional time in between. In fact, today is November 18th. So she's actually had almost an additional 2 months since that September 25th date. And I believe that she should, in this case, in this situation, just addressing your last point, that she should have come here with something more than her say-so that it was some attorney in Detroit who said they needed more time. Certainly, if she had some actual evidence of that, maybe the court could entertain that, but I don't think that vague reference is sufficient for the court to entertain it. We have been doing depositions with attorneys from Detroit. We have seen cases go forward with attorneys from Detroit. Those offices, the Detroit offices, they are functioning. They have secretarial staff there or answering systems that handle calls and funnel those calls onto an attorney. So I find it very hard to believe that the reason she didn't get a call back or the reason she couldn't get an attorney to review this case was because she needed more time, because she's had about 5 months to get someone to look at this case and to get some evidence that someone was interested in looking at this case. Furthermore, in regards to the specific motion, I cited the court rule, which indicates MCR 1.109, which indicates that if there's a requirement for a signature, which there are on request to admit, and that document is not signed by the person filing it or an attorney, that the failure to sign it, it shall be stricken unless promptly after notification, some action is taken. We verbally called this lady on 3 occasions, one occasion getting her answering system and giving her our number for her to call us. And our office never received a call from her. And we told her that the motion was being filed and we would discuss it with it. She never got back to us to discuss it with it. She's received the motion, never tried to submit these properly. And then not only that, but what her answers were, like you mentioned, her response was really, should be admit that she doesn't have it, giving that response. And therefore, she's not sought an extension of time to file answers to the request to admit or to appropriately file the answers. And therefore, they should be deemed admitted, in this case, should be dismissed. She's had sufficient time. She's was contacted by us, and we could have explained more to her had she contacted us back. And the motion explains what the situation is about. And she could have, taken some appropriate action.
All right, and I am also sympathetic with you and your client, but I am going to give Ms. Sains an additional 42 days from today's date to retain another attorney. Ma'am, I'm not going to accept any excuses. I realize you're not an attorney. I realize this is a difficult field to navigate. If you're not an attorney, I'm going to give you that time. You need to immediately get a hold of whatever attorney it is who's willing to take the time to review your file and get the information to them. But 42 days from today, if you haven't retained an attorney, I'm going to allow the defendant to renotice their motion, and in all likelihood, I'm going to grant that motion and dismiss your case.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And Kathy Crum, Krumn, do you know her?
I know who she is, but
That's the one that told me that she was too busy
she doesn't handle medical malpractice cases, ma'am. I can tell you
but
that.
But somebody in her office does. She said too busy.
I wouldn't waste my time with someone who does not handle medical malpractice cases. It's a specialty that only specialists handle. You need to get a hold of a medical malpractice specialist, whoever it was that told you they needed at least 30 days.
Okay.
Tell them the judge has granted you 42 days
Now,
to
when's
have
that
somebody
date?
review it. Pardon?
When is that date?
Well, 42 days from today will be, give me a second to calculate. So let's see. Today's the 18th. 18th of December will be 30 days. 12 days after that. Will be December 30th.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Thank you very much.
Your Honor, can I just suggest that if she doesn't have, if an attorney has not entered an appearance within 42 days, that the case will be dismissed?
Yes, you, that.
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
So Ms. Subi, would you submit an order to that effect?
Okay, and the address that we've been using for you, Ms. Sains, that's the appropriate address, right? 745 Bloomfield Boulevard?
No, it's 754.
754 Bloomfield Boulevard, Jackson, Michigan?
Yes, 49203.
And the phone number we have for you is also correct? 783-1547?
Yes. But I'll
Okay.
have to check. We have 2 answering machines, and I guess maybe it was on the other one that we never used. So I'll make sure that I check those from now on.
And
Okay.
I see an email address listed as well,
Yes.
jimster754@yahoo.com.
Yes, because I don't have a computer, so I have to use theirs.
Oh, okay, and whoever that is, they will get a hold of you and let you know whenever there's an email?
Yes.
All right. Okay,
Thank you.
Ms. Subi, I'll watch for that order. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank